we have the investor pitch competition, which is coming up. Again, I want to welcome everyone tuning in from around the world. We're really excited to come together. We have 8 experienced judges who are joining us today. They're going to introduce themselves very shortly. And we're going to talk about and learn from some companies today. We're going to hear from 8 different companies, and actually it was quite a competitive process to come in. About 50 different companies applied to join the investor pitch competition, and out of those, we have 8 that were selected to present today. So it's going to be a very exciting time. We've assembled a great cross-section of companies that will be presenting today. So I'm going to go through some of how this is all formatted, because there's a lot of kind of details to it. So I want to lay it all out so that everyone kind of buckles down and kind of sees what's coming up and can basically flow with the program alongside us. So essentially, the investor pitch competition will be approximately 2 hours, and our goals are to educate investors about cannabis, CBD, and hemp investment opportunities, and also connect companies from different industry sectors who are seeking additional growth capital and in the hunt for new investors and sources of capital. Today, we will watch 8 innovative companies present their investment opportunity to a panel of experienced investor judges that are seeking investment opportunities, and again, selected from over 50 companies. At the end of the 8 presentations, we will learn which company the investor judges like and if they are motivated to invest. So yes, because it's all about investment, especially going into the new year. So here's the schedule. From 1:05, which we're a little bit early, but essentially from 1:05 to 1:20, we're going to do introductions of investor judges. So we're a little bit early, so that's great. Then right after that, we will have, after each judge introduces themselves for 1 minute, we will have each company do a presentation and a Q&A. We will then have a voting by investor judges, and then guess what? You as an audience member, you also get to vote as well and have a chance to weigh in on what you thought of the presentations too. Each judge will get 1 vote for 1 company and tell us why they selected their choice. At the end, I'll add up all the votes and come up with the total. And the company that has the most individual judges' votes will be the overall winner of the investor pitch competition at the Cannabis Investing Forum. We will announce the investor judges and audience winners. So right after that should take about an hour, probably a little bit over an hour. And then actually, we're going to have some closing announcements from John. So I'll hand the mic back to him. And then we're going to open it up for networking. And that's probably going to be between 3:20 and 4:30. We're going to host Zoom networking. I don't know if you've ever done it. Brad says it's cool. So everyone just hang tight, because that's really when we're going to be able to exchange contact information and get, just hang out for a bit, right? I know we can't do this in person, so it might be a little weird, but I promise you it'll be worth your time. So stick around. All right, so just a couple other items to cover. First, for audience members, if you want to submit a question, please use the chat button at the bottom of your screen, and please make sure that you are chatting with all panelists and attendees. So make sure that feature is clicked on. After the final presentation, the webinar audience will be presented with a pop-up window. So a pop-up window is going to come up, and you'll be able to put your vote for the company that you want to vote for in that pop-up window. And then to presenting companies and speakers, I will work to bring you questions from the audience. So don't worry about that. We also recommend that you monitor the chat to answer questions directed at you. And I've already seen there's a lot of really good activity that's happening in that chat, a lot of really good networking. I probably saw a couple deals already happening. I think I put together a deal, earlier as well. So, hey, it's all good. It's a lot of fun happening on that chat. So please tap in. And so as a reminder, you do have access to the presenting companies and investor judges information and their contact information at the Cannabis Investing Forum website at www.cannabisinvestingforum.com. Okay, so Finally, here's the format and how this is going to work. Each company will have 12 minutes to present and then answer questions of judges. I'll be introducing each presenting company, and it is recommended that company use the initial set of 6 minutes for the presentation and then allow 6 minutes from Q&A. I will issue a 1-minute warning for the first set of 6 minutes and then for the second set of 6 minutes as well. So that way the company presenters will know what's to come. Judges will raise their hands or indicate if they want to ask questions, and I'll be looking out for that as well. Judges are requested to have 1 question for each presentation, and presenting companies, if you could keep your answers at 90 seconds or less so that we can have at least 3 to 4 investor judges ask their questions, we would greatly appreciate it. So with that being said, I want to move toward introducing our highly esteemed panel of judges. I'm super excited. I've connected with a few of these folks actually in other conferences as well. So it'll be reconnecting with some of these folks too. I'm very excited to get to meet our investor judges. First on the stage, we have Mr. Blake Bleacher, who's a founder of My Sleepy USA. Blake, it's good to see you again, my brother. Please, if you can just let the audience know a little bit about yourself.
Hey, good to see you again, Joseph. Thanks again. And I just want to thank everybody that's attending and the panelists. So yeah, this is exciting. So my name is Blake Becher. I'm the guy that's going to put you all to sleep. But seriously, this is our product that we're selling now. We're making a great hemp-based, world-class CBD, CBN, THCV product that's going to just format your entire sleep cycle, the 24-hour cycle that we've evolved with, since evolution. So now it's a great way to combat stress, and yeah, I'm excited to help everyone out here, and looking forward to all the presentations that are going to go on. I also have some samples for everyone at this event at the end of it who want to try it. So feel free to contact me, and I'm happy to send out some free samples.
Thanks, Blake. It's great to see all the progression with your product. Really amazing work. Next, we actually have Ms. Carol Teka, who's the managing director with the Musica Capital Group. And Carol, it's great to see you again. I think the last time we saw each other was at Canna West.
Hello, thank you, Brad, for putting together this amazing event. Yes, my name is Carol Ortega. I'm originally from Bogota, Colombia. I'm the founder and CEO of Musica Capital Group. We represent family offices from Latin America, accredited investors from Latin America, angel institution investors interested in taking the opportunity that is offered in the cannabis industry worldwide. And we have an event focus on the Latino market and Latin American investing opportunities and investors gathering a network called Latino Investment Summit. And well, it's an honor to be here in Cannabis Investing Forum. I had the pleasure to pitch our fund back in 2018, if I remember well, in Cartagena. So congratulations, Brad, for your incredible traction. And it's great to have these very important digital marketing opportunities. I think that the whole 2021 is going to be all this networking and gathering there, all the commercial and strategic partnership is going to happen online. So it's great to have this opportunity. Thank you, Brad, once again, and reach us if you want to expand your brand through Latin America, and if you want to give some of your opportunities of investment to Latino investors. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol, for joining. Next, we have Dr. David Cunic, who's the CEO of UCS Advisors. Dr. Cunic, if you can just please share a little bit about your expertise with the group.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. First off, great being here again, and good luck to all the presenting companies today. My name is Dr. David Cunic, CEO and co-founder of UCS Advisors and Investor Relations. And what we do is we actually help bring investors to invest in different cannabis and hemp deals, both domestically and internationally. And myself personally, I've actually been involved in the cannabis sector for over 10 years and have actually opened up 7 different cannabis companies in 5 different states during that time. And thank you again for having me today.
Thanks, Dr. Cunic. Really appreciate that. Next up, we have Gary Krimershmoys, who's an investment banker with Young America Capital. Gary, thanks for joining. Why don't you share a little bit about yourself?
Hello, team. This is great to see everybody again. Thank you for doing this wonderful, presentation for this industry that is still in the second inning, but needs people like us to help push it forward. I've been in cannabis since 2018. I joined a company called the Blink Group, which is New York-based, a designer and distributor of cannabis vaping hardware. And this summer, I joined Young America Capital. So as a registered investment banker, we're working with cannabis companies all over the country to help them raise capital, do M&A. And my specialty right now is on the Massachusetts market, and also just looking up and down the East Coast at a lot of limited license states that are kind of growing and fits in major bounds right now. And we're looking with New Jersey, legalizing on the ballot in November. We're looking for the whole East Coast to really open up over the next couple of years and to rival the West Coast in terms of volume and importance in the cannabis sector. So thank you for having me.
Thanks, Gary. Very exciting, and definitely very exciting to see the East Coast get on board. Next up, we have Jeffrey Click, who's the CFO of Start You Up. Jeffrey, if you can share more about your background with the group, please.
Sure. Jeff Glick, I run Start You Up. We are primarily outsourced CFOs working with startup and emerging companies. My cannabis background, I was a CFO of a cannabis private equity fund in New York City. And I'm currently the CFO of a public SPAC, Special Purpose Acquisition Corporation, and we're closing on a deal next week for a cannabis cultivator out of Colombia, and that's going to be taken public, and will be on the NASDAQ stock exchange. So I have a lot of experience on helping companies get bankable. A lot of companies do a great job. They're making money, they have positive cash flow, but they're unbankable. They can't go to a bank, they can't go to an investor group. So I go in there and I help them to turn around their operations and to make themselves bankable. Looking forward to hearing the companies this afternoon.
Thanks, Jeff. Very important work. Next up, we have Scott Berman, who's a principal at the Panther Agency.
Yes.
If you can share a little more about your expertise, please.
Sure. Thanks for having me, everybody. Thank you, Brad. I'm from Philadelphia, PA. I agree with Gary that New Jersey is very exciting. It's only 20 minutes from my house. Panther Agency, we've invested in 16 companies in the last 3 years. We've looked at over 500 deals. I got involved through cannabis politics in 2014. I remain very interested in seeing which way the political winds are blowing, because that dictates a lot from an investment standpoint. We also have a digital marketing agency, mainly doing data-driven programmatic advertising for the space. And we also do consulting, mergers and acquisitions, and corporate development. So it's a pleasure to meet everyone and look forward to all the pitches.
Thanks, Scott, and welcome.
Thanks.
Next up is Terry Buffalo, who's the CEO of the American Cannabis Company. Terry, if you can introduce yourself, please.
Yes, hi, my name is Terry Buffalo. I'm the CEO and CFO of American Cannabis Company. And Brad, thanks for having me back today as a judge. I'm looking forward to seeing the presentations we have in front of us today. American Cannabis Company is a public company. We've been around for about 8 years, providing seed to sale solutions in all markets in the US and also outside. And currently we are looking to make some pivots. We are looking to for investment, partnership, and acquisitions opportunities to expand our brand. And so if anyone has any additional things they'd like to reach out to us to talk about, we'd love to hear from you. And again, thanks for having me back today.
Thanks, Terry. And our final judge is Tim Lozit, who's the CEO of Green Life Capital. Welcome, Tim. Please, if you can share about your expertise with everyone, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Brad, for having me here. Tim Lozit, Green Life Capital. I'm the CEO and managing director. So what we're doing is we're financing growth up to $5 million with unsecured money. And we also finance up to 50 million for real estate. We're really industry agnostic, but we are one of the few companies that can lend in the cannabis industry. I did enjoy the panel that talked about that earlier. And what's different about us is we're not a bank, it's private money. So this is, there's no red tape, no banking problems there. One of the great things about debt financing is, probably most people don't know this, is it actually costs less than equity financing. So that equity financing is the most expensive money that you're going to get. I particularly see about 100 deals a month. We do see equity deals, and we do see debt. For equity, we have a platform similar to this that we help companies raise on the equity side, and we are financing debt. So we've financed about 200 million since 2019. You know, we had a really good year in 2019, 2020. We're kind of getting that going again. So what we do is we work with hedge funds and family offices and ultra high net worth individuals as a pool of funds in a syndication. And then that's what we use to finance. So that pool of funds is in excess of $500 million. But prior to Green Life Capital, what I did was I actually entered the cannabis space as an operator, as a CFO and vice president of finance for a company out of Las Vegas. And I had the opportunity to work with some really great people in the industry. And I took a dispensary, for example. I took one of our dispensaries and turned it around from $300,000 a month to over $1.2 million a month. And we were able to sell that company for close to $100 million. And then I've had an opportunity to work with people like Method Man and some great people and brands in the industry. Anyway, so that was a lot. I've had a lot of past life too. My past life was in real estate investments. You know, we had some funds, 8 funds of $2 billion, which are today now $10 billion. And it almost feels like a lifetime ago. I was a Marine, active duty Marine Corps combat veteran. But thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to these companies presenting today. We've actually made some offers from companies that are presented at events just like this one.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate you sharing about your background. Thank you for your service. And I gotta say that if you was working with Redman, you gotta work with Crazy Bone and Lisa Legend. So let's make it happen. Cool. Well, thanks all the judges for speaking about your background. Clearly a lot of expertise among our judge panel today. Really appreciate you all making the time and learning about our presenting companies today. Now we're gonna go ahead and get started. So everyone, this is when things get turned up, and we're super excited to learn about each company. So actually our first presenting company will be presented by Cecil Page. She's the co-founder and CEO of Pelly Labs.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cecil Page, CEO of Pelly Labs. I appreciate the time here. Thank you, Brad, for putting this all together. So we actually got into this out of necessity. About 8 years ago, we had 2, I guess you could call it clandestine facilities to manufacturing closed loop and distillation of high amounts of THC distillate. This was Prop 215 compliant. We actually got into the legal market by shutting down those facilities around legalization and started lobbying with the City Council of Ojai for about 2 years. Really describing the endocannabinoid system. Around that time, my mother had gotten estrogen-driven breast cancer. We saw her tumor markers go down with the increase of the proper cannabinoids. And we just got on fire about really helping others and producing these medicines. So during the lobbying, I ran a type 6 facility and designed it non-volatile extraction, and also a type 7 facility for one of the largest cannabis groups in California, Shrine Group, Steezy, developed 2 of their latest SKUs. When they launched those SKUs, they actually got to the #1 sales in California. So it's really been built out of necessity of helping loved ones, but also being obsessed with phytochemistry and having to learn all of the compliance, brand compliance for this number of businesses. And I'll show you our pitch. Here we go. All right. So we are a white labeling manufacturing business. We will develop different SKUs. We have about 4 really, and 1 first to market SKU that will be offered to the whole industry of California. This will help brands that cannot produce innovative products because of really budgetary constraints, also the ability to even manufacture without a license. So that's really what we do, is we facilitate the success of other cannabis brands by offering the white labeling of unique and unreleased products. We're a Type 7 and Type 11 distribution facility, manufacturing as well. So we're located in Ojai, California. It's right in between Santa Barbara, which is one of the most significant cannabis cultivation counties in the state, and also right in between LA, which is the largest concentrate market in California. Our team has well over 2 decades of combined experience. We'll be producing refined live resin, liquid live resin, tablets, and live rosin. The live resin is a butane extracted hydrocarbon based extract, which has a really large emphasis on terpene preservation. We have large emphasis on terpene preservation when we convert to liquid live resin form. This is the 2 SKUs that we've developed for the large brand I was speaking of. With regards to tablets, we'll be using minor cannabinoids. Been doing a lot of different conversions and isolations, reverse chromatography, that kind of stuff. It's been very fun to lead these types of processes in the industry. Live rosin is a solventless extract, very sought after. We'll also be making that with extremely high quality fresh frozen material. The market size of California is currently 3 billion. By 2026, we're looking at a national market size of 50 billion. California will be 50% of that, estimated. There's 248 Type 7 manufacturers, and it's a pretty small market. So, let's see here. Our milestones, we're planning on building out on the 1st and acquiring additional funding during that time. We're planning on having it's a 3 to 4 month build out, but it always goes a little longer with construction. We have our building permit, our licenses, everything ready to go. Just need that extra bridge of funding to get us started. So it'll be about a half year with one machine. So you can see it'll be 6.7 million of gross revenue. With an additional machine, it'll actually get us all the way up to, here we are, right around 26, but it's 7.8 net because of 280E. So our team, Joseph Marino is our COO. He has been by my side along this whole journey, helped with both the facilities and lobbying in Ojai. And Haywood Mitchell is an internationally accomplished systems engineer. He's our CTO. Nicole Shepard has been the sales associate and lead of sales for a large amount of large companies. Stephanie Marino, she has over 15 years of leadership experience with technology, manufacturing, distribution. We're all very experienced in our respective fields, and we get to lean on each other for all the different portions of the business. Our projected income statement. Here you'll see that because of the first year with one machine and our ability to only start about halfway through the year, our net profit's at 1.6 million. That is with all 4 SKUs and one machine producing it for white labeling at wholesale cost. We are not a retailer. So by year 5, with 2 machines starting at year 2, we'll end up right around 7.8 million net. And this is something that has really been a passion of ours for many years. We've isolated many different plant compounds, extracted many different plants, everything from kratom to, I actually have a greenhouse of legal plants that are going to be pharmaceuticals one day. This has been a passion of ours for many years. So through all this, it's been a blessing to be able to be friends with the police chief now after having a clandestine facility, and friends with all the city council members. And yeah, open it up for questions.
Thanks, Cecil. Great work. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to questions from our panel of judges. Who has the first question?
Okay. Cecil, thanks so much for the presentation. Are you looking to use contract growers to provide your supply chain for your material, or where will you source your supplies?
Great question. We have 4 growers right now that are ready to produce biomass for us. We'll be acquiring fresh frozen. One's a really close friend of ours who has a large amount of acres. They said they would give us multiple acres, one for each strain, for each SKU, dedicated for that. We also have a lot of brands that are ready for our products, because what we're offering is actually not offered in the white labeling space. So this is really a disruptive product offering for white labeling to help assist other companies. So we have our sales, because they really want these SKUs, and our input material already dialed in from the cultivation. So our supply chain is really covered. It's just needing that bridge of capital. And something I didn't mention is we're looking for 3 million. We have 1 million pledged. It's depending on some real estate being sold. We're about 450,000 skin in the game. And with that, the 3 million is against 30% equity. It is negotiable. And if someone was to put in the 3 million now, we would be able to completely go forward. If it was 2, we would have that 1 million pledged. So we're really nimble with the startup.
Thanks, Cecil. Next question, Jeffrey.
Yeah, hi. I just saw something that jumped out at me on your P&L, on your profit and loss statement. You had your gross margin in year 2 go down. I was just wondering, if you're operating for a full year, why wouldn't you be seeing some economies of scale?
That actually is, I'm not sure. It continually goes up. That's a strange thing. So we have a separate, an extra machine that goes in. And with that extra machine, our revenue certainly goes up, gross and net.
Okay. Maybe I saw it wrong. I was just wondering. And in terms of sales, your sales market is all of California, correct?
Yes, all of California, dispensaries, distributors, and brands. And so we have about 11 brands that are interested in purchasing our products.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, it's really mostly Liquid Live. It's one of the most sought after SKUs right now that, like I was saying, we developed for Shrine Group.
All right. Thank you.
Next question. Oh, Gary.
Yes, hi. Thank you for the presentation, Cecil. Do you have any IP with your, whether the process or machinery? Is there anything that you can protect intellectually in terms of, IP?
Certainly. So we don't have any IP that's patented, and I know that would be the way to protect it. But the cool thing is we've used some very unique methods of using different machinery for a different process that I don't believe anyone's utilizing besides the one brand that we brought this to. And that was a really wonderful partnership. So we are doing very unique things that other companies aren't offering, but they are not patented.
Blake, I saw your hand up earlier as well.
No, it's okay. No, I wanted to ask you, have you looked outside? Because I specialize in Latin America, in Colombia, and I know there's a lot of people that would like to get some white label products in from the US. There are steps to go about doing that, registering your product here. For example, a lot of your products could be registered under dietary supplements, but here we have to actually have a formulation for them. So this is just something you may want to think about and bring it into your perspective with your team.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll bring that up. Thank you.
So Latin America it's huge. There's a big market down here. I mean, and there's no one really doing anything yet still. So there's a huge market for you down here. So it might be something to add in to attract other investors out of California, out of the US.
Thank you.
Thanks, Blake. We have time for one more quick question and quick response. All right, I see no, or Gary, go ahead.
Cecil, I was a little confused. Was there a previous working relationship with Stizzy, or you mentioned a name, but I'm a little confused of the relationship.
Certainly. Yeah, I was put on to actually be a consultant to develop two SKUs, two products. And then I was quickly promoted to senior extraction engineer. And as our facility gained more traction, we fulfilled our contract and have great relationships with them, a huge amount of respect and actually love for the whole founders and everyone there. Still assist every once in a while with the call, but really just had to move on to this project.
All right. Thank you, Cecil. That is your time. Great work. Moving on to the next presentation. Next up, we have Greg Steinberg, the CEO. I'm sorry. Just kidding. Next up, we have Davina Kaonohi, the CEO of Element Opathic. Davina, are you there?
It looks like Davina's internet fell off. We'll pass and come back.
Okay, great. So we'll move on. Glenn D. Simone, CEO of Curatio Life Sciences.
Hi. Yes, I'm sorry, we were not expecting to be put on so quickly.
Yeah, thanks. We'll give you a minute or two if you need to settle.
If you could, that would be great. Just
yeah, no
second,
problem.
please.
No problem. No problem.
One sec. All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
We're very excited to be here today. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Can they hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yep.
We're Curatio, full spectrum medical grade CBD therapy. We're the Tesla of the CBD market for three main reasons. We have breakthrough technology to improve performance. We have pharmaceutical grade standards throughout all manufacturing processes, and we're committed to innovation and future products. Our proposition is to raise $1 million issuing convertible notes. Notes will be offered in $25,000 to $100,000 segments, paying 7% interest. Opportunity to convert notes to equity at 20% discounted valuation will determine that valuation at the third quarter of 2021. We estimate that this will be a 10 to 20 times return on investment. Our leadership team is comprised of myself, Glenn D. Simone, the CEO and founder, and my father, who is also named Glenn D. Simone. The both of us come from pharmaceutical healthcare advertising, and we've collectively launched over 30 blockbuster products, pharmaceutical drugs, and have over 40 years of experience. Our supply chain of partners is a critical part to our success, and it starts with our GMP manufacturing through all processes, our fulfillment, digital media, and of course, our sales. Our distribution is strong and growing. We were just brought on to threshold distributors with 11,000 natural food stores. OptiSource, which has 3,000 pharmacies and small chains, many more, including Brazil, business in Brazil, which is very exciting. Now we get to the point of what really makes us different and unique. Curatio is a fine-tuned engine of cannabinoids, 85% of which is CBD. 15% of it is a fine-tuned ratio of CBN, CBG, CBC, and CBDV. The THC in our hemp is converted to CBN, which also binds to the CB1 receptor, just like THC, but doesn't have intoxicating effects. Our full profile of hemp-derived terpenes, flavonoids, esters, and proteins, and fatty acids make up our full spectrum profile. The ratio matters. And every cannabinoid that's in our product has a purpose and function and performs a synergy with all of the other active ingredients. The distribution of our product into the body is another differentiating aspect of our product. Most CBD oils exhibit only 6 to 8% absorption, while our product receives 70% absorption. And that's because we miniaturize our active ingredient to 10 nanometers, which is the size of a DNA strand. Our nano CBD is encapsulated in a natural surfactant, which increases bioavailability compared to those nano poly encapsulations, which are not natural. Our process increases Curatio's absorption 10 times, enhancing onset and duration of action. Now here you can see a chart that depicts the 3 leading brand categories: isolate, broad spectrum, and full spectrum. And as you can see, Curatio is in a category of its own with all the boxes checked. We have more than 15% secondaries, the most robust secondary profile on the market. We have a powerful entourage effect. We're nano-emulsified and provide 10 times bioavailability. The pharmaceutical grade standards are the pillars of our company. And as I said, we use GMP certification throughout all manufacturing practices. And we have COAs available for every one of our batches, providing the potency, consistency of our product throughout. You can receive, or you can see the COA on the side of our packaging on the QR code. Excuse me. Here you can see our oral products on the left. We have regular strength 500 milligram and 1,000 milligram, which are available in original and mint flavor. Also available in a spray bottle, which is great for travel and also for quick use. On the right side, we have our topical products, which are not only include our nano emulsified product, but also includes clinical doses of comfrey, menthol, arnica, and we've actually submitted it to the FDA for OTC so we can make the pain claim, which we're very excited about.
Thanks, Glenn. I'm Glenn Sr. Nice to meet you all. I'm going to share with you our promotional support program for our fine product line. It includes 2 direct selling teams, one on the East Coast and one on the East and West Coast, a comprehensive digital marketing and advertising program, including Facebook advertising and lead generation funnels, which already have collected over 5,000 emails per month in the last 2 months. We're in the process of translating those into sales. We have 75 influencers, either elite athletes, HCP influencers that reach an audience of 10 million followers. We also have the Yankee chiropractor who's using our product, by the way. Next year, we expect to engage a public relations agency, and that's part of the reason we're looking for this $1 million. In addition, we want to fund a pharmacokinetic study to support our Curatio absorption. Okay, let me share with you now our financial projections. As you can see, this is 4 years starting next year. We're expecting 2.8 million, moving into the 4th year at 22.8. I want to focus on that because that 22.8 is only 0.69% share of the total market. And that is yielding, however, a very healthy EBITDA of 9.3 million. We've taken a look at a cash flow, and we think that's important for you to realize that that over the course of next year, we are going to be at a deficit of $576,000 in the 2nd quarter and begin to pull out of it in the 3rd and 4th quarter. So the investment we're looking for should be healthy enough for next year's work. The value proposition that Glenn referred to is we're looking in the 3rd quarter of next year to value the company. We think it'll be somewhere in the $5 to $10 million range. If we take the lower limit of 5 million, discount it by 20%, that would be a $4 million valuation. So $1 million of investment would buy 25,000 shares of our stock, and it would give you 25% ownership of Curatio Life Sciences.
Glenn, you have 5 minutes.
Excuse me?
You have 5 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah, so
very good. The future value, 4th year projection as we said, was 9.3 EBITDA, which we think would give us a value of about $80 million and return 20 times your initial investment. Our exit strategy would be to sell to Big Pharma, where we have plenty of contacts, a consumer company, or a cannabis roll-up. We have also looked at a COVID conservative forecast. With things that are going on in our environment, it's hard to say what's going to happen in the years to come. Hopefully the vaccine is going to work. But we've reduced our revenue forecast by 25% each year. We've kept our SG&A and marketing expenses at the same level as I've shown you in the previous forecast. Yet we still have an EBITDA of 5.6 million, which would yield a 10-time initial investment for those of you that would jump in. Future considerations. We've looked carefully at a national broadcast initiative utilizing CTV, radio, and podcast. We would proceed this with a test market. I've got details on this program and could share that with you during the question and answer if you'd like. And then we have product initiatives. As we said, we want to stay on the front of this movement for CBD. So Glenn is looking at oral nano CBG focus drops, oral nano CBN sleep drops, CBD, CBG calm drops, a transdermal patch, eye cream, facial cream, and an acne pen.
Hey,
So
Glenn.
that's our story.
Oh, sorry.
We think we're different than the rest. We thank you for your time. We think this is a great investment opportunity.
Thanks, gentlemen. Great work. We have 3 minutes for Q&A, so we have time for a few quick. Go ahead, Dr. Cunic.
So as a medical professional who used to own a bunch of different medical facilities, on one side, it seemed like you were talking about going after physicians and other healthcare professionals. And then on another side, you talk about your influencers and doing social marketing, social media marketing. Is your game plan to go after more the general audience, the general public, or is your game plan to go after more healthcare providers and then have them sell the product for you?
That's a good question. We designed this product specifically to be the doctor's choice.
Okay.
And we realized when doing that, that because our product is so efficacious, it worked very well with athletes. And it quickly replaced their NSAIDs and various other types of medications and took off. So we decided to do a dual-pronged approach where we thought there would be a trickle-down effect from working directly with the doctors, but we also felt that it would be effective for us to work through social media to connect with these athletes that in the end could very well speak to the doctors who in the end could recommend the product anyway. So we feel that they're linked.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Thanks, Glenn. Next question.
Yeah, I have a question. So
go ahead, Tim.
So you talked about your customer acquisition costs through email at 41 cents. Phenomenal. I mean, that's a great job on the presentation also, by the way. But can you expand on what's your revenue right now? What are you at right now?
We're going to probably do $100,000 this year. And we've been hurt by the pandemic and the fact that Threshold, which took us on in February of one of 3 brands, that it's in a holding pattern because they haven't gone back to their offices in Santa Cruz. It's shut down.
Still shut down.
So we have been hurt by that, and it's hard to say.
But to answer your question right now, because we launched our main product line in January. Of course, COVID hit a couple months later, so we didn't have much time to really get our product out. But because our product was so efficacious, it has really made an impact with distributors. We've been taken on by Threshold. We have OptiSource, which is a leader in the independent distribution to pharmacies. So we feel that we've really needled that. Have managed to work that out.
Thank you.
Quick question, Joseph. Glenn and Senior Glenn, thank you for your presentation. Just on your burn rate, because we've seen so many cannabis companies come in and they just run through money like crazy. Just, can you maybe give us all a little information on how you plan to spend?
We've run through some money, by the way. I've been the sole investor in this company as well as Glenn. So we've got $1 million into this company. So our burn rate, we've reduced the burn rate now to probably $30,000 to $40,000 a month. at this point in time. That's not what we want to spend, but we brought it down just to, until we get another investor or two in partnership with us. Right now, that's our burn rate.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate your guys' time and great presentation. We're going to carry on to the next presenting company, and we're actually going back to Davina Kaonohi, the CEO of Element Apothic. I believe she is
Hi, I'm here.
ready to go.
Yes.
Hey, Davina.
Hi, sorry about that. Fun
All good.
technology issues, but I'm here.
It's
let me just
2020. We're good.
Screen. All right. So hi, I hope everybody's doing well. And I wanted to thank Brad for putting together another incredible event. I'm really happy to be here. I'm Davina, the CEO and co-founder of Element Apothic. Element Apothic is a new CBD-focused body care and wellness brand, bringing transparency and trust to a market that's been plagued by suspicion and lack of integrity. We seek to elevate this industry by bringing not only our luxurious line of clean and safe and effective products, but education to the conscious consumer. Element Apothic was born in a kitchen, not a lab. When my aunt was diagnosed with several medical conditions, she created products out of a need. The prescriptions and medications the doctors were providing to her were causing other symptoms. So she actually started growing her own cannabis plants in her living room, making Rick Simpson oil, and became certified in plant-based medicine and essential oils. That was over 10 years ago. Through the years, she's continued to fine-tune those formulations. About a year ago, I took over the company, partnered with medical advisors, and today we're bringing those products to the market. The problem today is that consumers who are to trust. Imagine you're a consumer, you've heard of CBD, or maybe you're already a consumer who knows about CBD, but you continue to hear about all of the problems that plague the industry. There's toxic and harmful ingredients. Labels are inaccurate. Low quality products with little to no transparency or variation. So many white labeled products on the market that you really don't know who's actually creating those products. There's little medical oversight, such a lack of consumer education. So really brands are not meeting the needs of today's conscious consumer. And the conscious consumer trend continues. Self-care, better for you trends are manifesting all over the place in general retail. Consumers are looking for companies that have trust, transparency, sustainability, and are mission driven. So many companies say they're purpose driven, but they really don't actually follow those protocols. COVID-19 has only led to a surge of socially responsible behaviors. On top of that, a lot needs to be done with education. Consumers' knowledge of cannabis is really lacking. Over 70% of people are unfamiliar with terms like the entourage effect and the endocannabinoid system, and are really still just trying to understand what THC and CBD mean. The solution is Element Apothic, the trustworthy brand that conscious consumers are demanding. So why will we be successful, you may be asking yourself? Because we have built a brand focused on creating clean, safe, and effective products with medical oversight and are committed to education. We've created a brand of trust for that conscious consumer that I mentioned earlier. Our never ever promise is our commitment to the consumer that we will never ever use any harmful or questionable ingredients in any of the products we create. And to validate this, we've received CertClean certification, Leaping Bunny, and continue to gain certifications in our products. We are also leading the market with innovative formulations, not just using CBD, but CBG, CBN, and other plant-based remedies. We are also committed, as I mentioned, to education. Dr. Swathi, our Chief Scientific Officer, who created the first pharmacist program accredited by PharmD, is leading the charge for our education and creating our own educational program for all of our brand ambassadors, retailers, and partners that work with us. Although there are hundreds of companies in this space, there is a clear opportunity for Element Apothic to take a market-leading position by meeting the needs of today's conscious consumer. And as you know, the market opportunity is huge, over $16 billion projected by 2022, and over 240 million new consumers coming to the market. But what's amazing is that we actually have access to the wellness market and all of the new consumers that have yet to try CBD, a $3.5 trillion market. So you can see, as you know, there's an opportunity for exponential growth. We have put together aggressive financials, but we feel that we are able to meet the needs of the consumers and will be able to do this. And how are we going to meet these goals? We've assembled a management and advisory team with over 60 years relevant experience. As I mentioned, our Chief Scientific Officer, Dr. Swathi, Dr. Marvin Singh, who's a head of integrative medicine for UC Irvine, Dr. Raja, who's an incredible integrative board certified dermatologist and professor at UC Davis, is leading our medical advisory team. And we have a strong board advisory team to continue to help us build our company. To build brand awareness and drive sales, we have built out a strong digital marketing strategy, including content marketing, influencer marketing, ads, and social media. Our business model is B2C, B2B, subscription-based, as well as building out a brand ambassador program. Some of our successful milestones to date is we just launched, as we mentioned earlier when Kim talked about it, we just started our pre-sales and our orders are shipping tomorrow. We've signed a partnership agreement with the premier medical GPO group, and that really attests to the strong team that we have on the medical advisory team. We have retail partnerships with show fields. We're launching our products in Miami next week and in New York in February, and we're partnered with Showcase by Cal Ethos. In addition to that, we've secured influencers and tier 1 media outlets that are going to be covering our brand as we just launched. We've received pending B Corp certification and One for the Planet. And why did we do that? We wanted to show the consumers and our retailers and business partners that we really stand behind our words. We've also received CertClean certification, Clear for Me, and Leaping Bunny. And what are those? Those are certifications to validate that our products are clean and safe and that we're not using any full or toxic ingredients. We're currently raising $500,000 on WeFunder, and anybody can invest. You can be accredited or non-accredited. For as little as $100, you can own a piece of Element Apothic. You may be asking yourself, why Element Apothic? It's trust, plain and simple. Invest now and join us on our journey to set a new standard of clean science. Element Apothic, never ever anything but good. And I'm done.
Thanks, Davina. Really great work putting all this together. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to start with judge questions. Scott, I saw your hand first.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the presentation. I'm just curious what the FDA might have in store for us in 2021 and how that will affect. It seems to me there's a lot of product that might not make it on the shelves after that. And are you focused on that at all? And what do you think of the outlook is for next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of next year and the FDA, we're really trying to focus on, for our brand anyways, creating products that are forward thinking and meeting what we expect to come down the pipeline. So we're putting a lot of research behind our products. With the medical GPO that we're partnered with, we are going to be doing clinical observational studies that will be launching in 2021. So I expect that those are going to be some of the things. They're going to be looking for the research behind the ingredients and the products. And it's going to be upon the brands to really prove that their products meet those specific requirements.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question, Scott. Especially with the new administration coming in, it's going to be really interesting to see how FDA moves on these types of decisions. Jeff?
Yeah, hi. That was a fabulous presentation. Really good. So how much money have you raised so far, and who's that from?
Yeah, we just, so we've been raising on WeFunder. We've raised about $55,000. All of the additional money has been self-funded. We were waiting really to reach out to investors, bigger investors, until we launched our product, till we could prove that we had traction. And so we're at that point now where we're really looking to start gaining additional investment and really starting to hit that $500,000 investment that we're looking for.
And how much money have you spent on getting the approvals by those groups that you're clean, et cetera, et cetera? How much did that cost you?
I mean, it varied. Some of them ranged from a couple $1,000s. Some of them we actually formed partnerships with. The pending B Corp certification, a lot of that we did on our own instead of outsourcing and hiring. And so I would say under $5,000 to get all of those certifications.
Okay, we have a couple more minutes left for some questions.
Yeah, I have a question. So.
Oh, go ahead, Tim.
Sure. So, and this kind of goes on to the point with the other question about FDA. Would you categorize yourself, Davina, as more of a CBD company or a body care company? But because I know you have other cannabinoids there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're looking at ourselves more as a wellness company to kind of encompass it, and I think people are also looking at wellness both from the outside, but also beauty is also looking at wellness because what you put inside also impacts outside. So we really classify ourselves more as a wellness brand than specifically CBD because that also kind of puts you in a bucket. Like you said, we do have the other phytocannabinoids and as additional research comes out on other phytocannabinoids, I mean, there's hundreds of them. We're going to really look to incorporate that into our products to make sure they're as effective as possible.
Thank you. Gary.
Hi, Davina. I just wondered, again, it's a growing space, but it's a very competitive space. How do you plan to, get the distribution that will really stand out from a lot of other well-funded competitors in the CBD topical space?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of multiple things, but we're really starting with the education and focusing on that to bring in awareness that we're different than some of the other brands that are out there, as well as focusing on our medical advisory team. I think there's a lot of companies that are pushing out products. There's a lot of white labeled products, but in speaking to some of the retailers are really excited about the educational opportunities that we offer. Certifications, because when a consumer comes in and looks at the package, they can quickly say, okay, this feels safe. It's vegan, it's plant-based, they're clean products. It's a company that gives back. So we're really trying to create the pillars of what the consumer today is looking for. And I think a lot of companies are missing that point right now.
Just on that point, Davina, sorry to jump in. What is your current customer base and what are the demographics?
So I mean, we just launched, as I said, but we have built up quite a good email list. But we really look at our consumer from a psychographic perspective. We're not putting them in specifically age range. And I know there's pros and cons on both sides from a demographic or psychographic perspective. But in terms of even some of the SEO and search and ads, we're looking for that consumer that's looking for clean products, that is looking for sustainability, that's looking for transparency. And even in our packaging, we've gone out of the way to make sure, like our lotion package is sugarcane ethanol and we use glass. And so we're looking for that consumer where that really matters, where the products, where the mission, the purpose of the company is what drives their decision to buy the products.
Great. No, fantastic presentation. I like what you're doing with the educational side of it too. Consumers are still skeptical on all sorts of products.
Yeah, there's so much that's needed on the educational side, and anything any of us can do it elevates the entire industry.
Thank you, Davina. That makes up our time. Carol, I know you had a question.
Yes. Thank you.
You want to just make it very brief
question,
and brief response, please?
Yes.
Okay. My question is regarding trademarks and IP. Where do you have trademarks already? Do you have any kind of patent? Tell me about which jurisdictions do you have trademarks in on the US?
Yeah, so
and congratulations. It's always great to see women in the space.
Yes, thank you. We are starting to explore that. It's a little tricky on the patent side, specifically with formulations, because once you put that out there, then it's much easier for anybody to replicate that. We are exploring that up, but at this point, we don't have patents. We have been very protective over our IP and with the manufacturer that we're working with to really manage the combination of the formulations that we have. But we are open to exploring it and are looking at some options currently.
All right. Thank you, Davina.
All right. Thank you so much.
moving forward, we have Greg Steinberg, who's the CEO of Greenway DNA. Greg, you're up to bat.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me just share my screen here. I appreciate the time and thank you. At Greenway DNA, we are bringing you a bio-wellness trifecta: device, technology, and data. And we're doing that to solve a problem. The problem is dealing with a consumer dilemma of what is the right dosage for me. A study showed that 48% of people utilizing cannabis are using a trial and error methodology relative to dosing. That means money spent that doesn't have to be. It means trial and error, means poor efficacy, poor impact. Trial and error means not getting the most you can out of the power of this plant, or even worse, not utilizing the plant because you have a poor or ineffective result the first time. Looking at core areas, we look at it, 50 million people with chronic pain, 40 million with anxiety, 60 million with sleeping disorders, and that's just in the US. And Greenway's technology platform can be used globally. The solution that we brought to market is relative to THC and CBD dosing, looking at your specific genetic makeup and how it impacts your body relative to metabolism, your receptors, and the messaging that gives to your body in terms of transduction. You heard earlier from Dr. Carrillo and others relative to the endocannabinoid system and how it impacts our appetite, our mood, pain, pleasure, our body systems, specifically across receptors like CB1 and CB2. We are looking at THC and CBD right now in terms of dosing recommendations. And in the future, we'll be looking at other major cannabinoids and minor ones as well, like THCVA, CBG, CBN, etc., and how they impact our body. As you heard, CB1 and CB2 are core receptors in the body. There are many others also that impact our liver, our kidney, our stomach, our brain, our skin, how we act on a day-by-day basis. We look at each one of these relative to your specific genetic profile and how they impact with CBD and THC. Here you can see how CBD is impacted across many different receptors in the body. How we metabolize, fast or slow. Our receptors are open or closed. The messaging that goes to the body are all impacted by our individual genetic makeup. While we're all very, very similar, one base pair difference in our DNA profile has an impact on how we take up CBD and THC, how much we should be taking or how little we should be taking for a specific medical condition. We look at 40 different genetic variants across 20 different genes relative to the endocannabinoid system. We tie that to our proprietary algorithms that are linked to specific peer-reviewed scientific research on a global basis. We filed 2 patents, one in the cannabis space and one in the psychedelic space. In psychedelics, also looking at dosing recommendations to specific chemical profiles that you might find in ketamine, psilocybin, ayahuasca, MDMA, etc. The kit is very easy to use. You get the kit, spit into a tube, put the tube back into a prepaid box. It goes to a third-party lab in Oregon that's a CLIA certified molecular deep genetic lab tied to a university. And a couple of weeks later, we send you a report. At a high level, you get dosing recommendations for specific medical conditions. We go 4 levels deep in this report. At the deepest level, a genetic researcher, genetic scientist can look at the variants that we look at, the medical research that we're tied to, and understand why we're making the recommendations that we are. Let's talk about data. Many people think that there's a correlation between weight and dosing. Here you can see no correlation between CBD or THC dosing and weight. We see this with many other medical conditions. Here's one on insomnia. We also see this as we parse data across age or across gender. Here's an example of data that we see across 10 individuals where what they're actually taking versus what we recommend. Here, not enough CBD, way too much THC. In this situation, too much CBD, too much THC. This means poor efficacy, poor impact, not getting the most and maximum value that this plant can bring. We have a very experienced team. I've spent decades growing and scaling companies. One hit the Inc. 500 top 10 2 years in a row with $2 billion in organic revenue. In cannabis, I've been in the space for 6 years, buying a company that some of you might know, Growcentra, with our product brand Mammoth, the leading biostimulant in the cultivation industry globally. My partner, Dr. Ry Wagner, came from a Nobel Prize-winning genetic lab, went into the private sector, had an exit, ended up with Dow, running their global new ventures program for 6 years, now back into the entrepreneurial side of life. The rest of our senior team is deeply experienced in their own areas of focus. We have a wonderful scientific advisory board. Some of them you might not know. Dr. Carrillo, you heard from earlier today, and some of you might know the work of Dr. Knox. Sales channel, broad-based, B2B, B2C, D2C. In fact, anywhere that you might be able to find a THC or a CBD-based product on the shelf, we hope one day you'll find a Greenway DNA kit. We're raising $2 million in funding. So far, we've self-funded for the last 3 years. This will be the first money that we're raising. We're raising at a $6 million pre-money valuation. I invite you to ask questions and to join us on our trifecta pathway to wellness, and look forward to questions from the judges. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Really exciting stuff here.
Thank you.
We'll start with the questions. Scott, I'm gonna go to you first if you had a question, because I know I didn't catch you last time. Scott?
I'm good right now. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
That was for the last one. Thank you.
Okay. Carol, do you have any questions on this?
I have, Sarah. I'm just going to focus on two. How much is the price, Greg, of your technology? First of all, congratulations. Sorry about my dog. I think this solves one of the biggest challenges that we have in the industry, which is dosification. We all know that everyone has a unique endocannabinoid system, so this is very exciting. How much is your technology? What is your customer profile? I mean, this is the you're targeting doctors, you're targeting patients, and where are you going to ready to to send us to Latin America? Are you focusing on clinics? How are you visualizing your end customer?
Sure, fantastic, and good to see you, Carol. The MSRP on the product, if you went up to our website to buy it today, you'd buy it for $149. If you go through other channel partners that we have, you'll see a range typically in that same type of price range. Channel partners, health and wellness clinics, dispensaries, pharmacies, retail stores, vitamin places that are selling CBD products, et cetera, right across the board. And we're looking for partners on a global basis. We're talking to people in Australia, we're talking to people in the UK and Canada, in Europe. Love to chat about doing something in Latin America as well. Obviously, it's a technology that can be used globally and has no borders or barriers to it.
Thanks, Greg. Blake?
Just a quick question. I'm always curious about this too. I love the data sets and what you guys are doing. If you do get this technology in place and it's 100% there, how do you transition it into the actual marketplace? As in, you can say this client works, like this product will work exactly as we say it does. Because I mean, I know everyone that tries different products and there's the slightest amount of THC and they just get like heart palpitations. And some people it doesn't affect them at all. So how do you transition that into the actual marketplace for people to trust you and then buy that certain product from all these brands and customers out there?
Right. Well, we're not going to focus on specific products relative to making recommendations. Go buy this strain or go buy this person's product. We're happy to partner with products, and we have partnered with a number of CBD products. So it's interesting with the conversations that are going on right now through the course of this day, where those brands are taking a look at the results that are coming from our test and making recommendations to their customers that out of their product line, if you're trying to take one of our products for insomnia, let's say, take this one versus that one because of the results of the test. And so we're looking for channel partners from that perspective. We've done research internally. We're also doing clinical research, and we're looking for partners on the clinical research side as we continue to dial in on other types of medical conditions that are more serious than some of the ones that we're currently looking at.
Thank you.
Great question, Blake. Gary.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Gary.
Great to see you and great presentation. I just wondered, what are your revenue estimates for the next couple of years, and what's your expected gross profit margin on your sales?
Sure. I was going to share a screen, but I can't do that. So we're looking to ramp up over the next 12 months to about $1.5 million in revenue, scaling that up to into the teens revenue, and then a little bit higher than that over the next couple of years. We're looking at this raise giving us about 18 months worth of runway in terms of getting to cash flow positive side of life. And that's all relative to sale of kits into the cannabis space. We haven't built anything in relative to the psychedelic space, and we haven't built anything in terms of revenue relative to utilizing the data in some manner.
Just to the second part is, what's your expected gross profit margin?
Right. Margins should be around 50% today. And as we scale up to economies of scale, with more kits as we put through the system, we can get that up into the 70% range.
Scott?
Yeah, what's the competitive landscape look like?
It's pretty wide open right now. I think we've got pretty much of a greenfield. We're not the only ones out there. There are some other companies out there providing reports, let's say. Many of them are allowing you to suck into their system 23andMe and Ancestry.com type of a report and give you a report back. What 23andMe, as an example, looks at is public information. About 20% of the variants that we look at, they look at. So 80% of what we're looking at don't exist in 23andMe or Ancestry.com type of report. And so we believe that the information that's coming back on those type of reports is sort of not in the same ballpark, so something that we won't do. And the scientific depth that we go through because of some of my academic partners is done at a clinical level research. Nobody in the industry is doing clinical level DNA genetic sequencing. Everything we do could be published in a peer-reviewed paper. So I think we've got a market leader there.
Great, thank you.
Jeff.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah,
Really
hi.
strong
Have you
work with
guys-
Greenway DNA.
Sorry, have you guys been able to raise any money through grants and medical research?
We haven't tried to do anything through any of those avenues yet. In one of my prior companies, we did get 2 SBIR grants, phase 1, phase 2. And I think, next stage here, once we can get some federal regulatory change, we can certainly do that. Maybe what passed the House yesterday, that gets on the other side, we'll be able to do that for looking at that. We have looked in Canada and some other places relative to some non-dilutive funding, but we haven't applied for any yet.
All right, and real quickly, the money you're looking to raise now, that's just to help you market your existing product. And how much money will you need to do to fill out the whole spectrum of the product that you mentioned?
It's a combination. It's that's $2 million is being utilized both to scale on the biz dev side for our current product, but it's also to continue to build bioinformatics and database. It's looking at automating much of our report process, but it's also looking at research and clinical trials, both in cannabis as well as in psychedelics. So we've got about 750,000 of the 2 million focused on clinical research, clinical trials, both in cannabis and psychedelics.
Thanks, Greg. Moving forward, we have Doc Patels, and we have actually the CEO, Dakota Sullivan, and the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Rachna Patel, who will be presenting. Doc Patels.
Thanks, Joseph. Thanks, Brad. Thanks for having us. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Great to see so many people here that we know. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Great, awesome. So thanks for having us, everybody. My name is Dakota Sullivan, and I'm here with Dr. Rachna Patel from Doc Patel CBD. I'll take you through our presentation, and then Dr. Patel will handle your questions. So our mission is to educate medical professionals around the world about the healing power of CBD and to make a lot of money by doing it. Okay, by now, everyone is aware of CBD, but nobody, including a lot of people on this call, knows why they should use it. You know, Greg just talked about this. This is an important point. You know, will it help me get to sleep? Can I take it for anxiety? I've heard it's good for back pain. Does it work for arthritis? You know, they also don't know how to use it. Should I take gummies or a tincture or a salve or all three? How many milligrams should I take? How often? Does it interact with other drugs? Well, consumers aren't the only ones who are confused. When Dr. Patel was attending medical school, there was no training at all on CBD. Everything she learned about CBD, she had to learn on her own. Even today, when there are hundreds of studies on the benefits of CBD for everything from fibromyalgia to depression to acne, 90% of docs still say they don't know how to use CBD, much less what treatment regimen to recommend. So at Doc Patel's, we've come up with a solution to this massive challenge. We provide a full line of branded medical grade CBD products and a teaching academy where medical professionals from around the world learn about CBD using our products. So this all starts with Dr. Rachna Patel, who is at the heart of our company. Dr. Patel's mission is to help as many people as possible with CBD. She's the #1 ranked CBD expert doctor on Google, and her YouTube channel has more than 1 million views, making it one of the most popular sources of CBD information on the web. She's also a New York Times featured author. This year, Dr. Patel launched her own CBD line for the first time. Doc Patel's CBD products are tested by independent third-party labs for fungus, bacteria, pesticides, and metals. They're also tested to make sure the amount of CBD on the label is the amount in the bottle. Many leading CBD brands don't do this level of testing. Also this year, Dr. Patel established the Doc Patel's Cannabinoid Medicine Academy. It's the first institution in the United States that provides academic and clinical training in CBD exclusively for licensed medical professionals. But what makes our model powerful, not only do we earn tuition, but by training medical professionals on our own product line and then incentivizing them to sell Dr. Patel's CBD in their practices, we create a significant wholesale channel. So here's why the launch of our teaching academy is so timely. You know, Scott questioned regulations in FDA, and this is a super critical piece. So House Bill 8179 is currently in Congress. 8179 will make CBD an FDA regulated supplement for the first time. Docs are more comfortable recommending FDA regulated products, and millions of consumers are asking their medical providers about CBD. So we think this is the perfect time to grow a business that trains healthcare providers about CBD at scale. So let's take a look at the market potential. There are over 2 million medical professionals in the US who will be looking for training on CBD. And we will be there to provide it at an affordable cost of around $200 a course. There are also hundreds of thousands of private practices and clinics that may soon sell Doc Patel's CBD products. We get requests almost every single day. So how profitable is it to sell CBD products through this channel? Let's take a look. Well, Epidiolex is the only FDA-approved CBD prescription drug. Sold through roughly 2,000 medical practices, it generated $296 million in its first year of sales. Another point of reference, Abacus Health sells a CBD paste pain relief topical through chiropractors. In 2017, they reported sales of 3.4 million, but this year they were acquired by Charlotte's Web for 68 million. So here are our financial projections. We break even in 2021, which will be our first full year of operations. Note that more than 50% of expenses in year one are due to partner revenue shares. Our contracts are structured to give Doc Patels a larger cut of revenue in years 2 and 3. But even with this expense, you can see the strength of our teaching academy and channel sales. And these are markets we can grow in the US and internationally for years to come. Our management team are all successful entrepreneurs. Collectively, we have a track record of seizing the right opportunity at the right time, and then either operating these companies profitably or enjoying successful exits. And even though our company is only 8 months old, we've accomplished quite a lot. Our founders invested about $400,000, which paid for the development of our full product line and built out the core infrastructure of the academy. In addition to selling through medical professionals, we also have a growing private label business. Our first partner brand launches this month. It's called Reap CBD. We created it for UFC fighter Dustin Poirier, who has 2 million social media followers and will be fighting Conor McGregor in January for a shot at the world title. And even before we launched the academy, we're already selling through medical professionals. In fact, we're beginning a market test this month with a group that represents over 1,000 addiction treatment specialists. Finally, the Doc Patel's Cannabinoid Medicine Academy has been in beta since March, with an overview course being email dripped to about 1,000 doctors. Now we need to complete the curriculum and launch the Academy platform online. We're seeking up to $1 million in convertible debt to accelerate growth. Funds will be used to launch and promote the Academy and continue growing our private label business. We think this model can scale beyond the US and are planning an A-round financing in 2022 to support international expansion. So thank you, everyone. And Dr. Patel and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Great work here. First question.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Cunic.
What areas specifically have you even thought about for going international? Are you looking more European Union? You looking more South America?
Yeah, so I have actually had the opportunity to consult with patients in South Africa, in India, in Australia, as well as Indonesia. So it's a wide market that that we're looking to fill the gap for. So really, it's the populations where there's a high need at this point, based on the consults that I've done. So mainly India, Australia, Asian market as well, and the Latin market.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next question. Go ahead, Blake.
Do you have a specific platform? Do you have IP for your education system that you're going to be using?
Yeah, so I've created protocols by medical condition. Now, I have been recommending cannabinoid-based products to patients since 2012, and I've treated thousands of patients. I've also comprehensively dug through the research. So based on the research, based on my clinical experience, and based on my background of being a fully trained emergency medicine doctor, I've created protocols by medical condition, which I am now going on to educate, to teach to other physicians, so that they can then implement those protocols with their patients. Now, the protocols consist of specifically which combination of CBD and THC to use. About 80% of conditions are well treated with CBD, but there's varying degrees of strengths, right? So which strength should physicians recommend? Number two, which method of administration is most appropriate for the condition? For instance, with anxiety, topicals are not effective. You really need to use an internal method. Now, should they use inhalation or should they ingest? In different conditions, you're going to use different methods of administration. Like if someone's having a panic attack, that's when you use inhalation. But as a preventative, that's when you would use, for instance, an edible. Next thing is dosing. The biggest question that nobody has an answer to. As a physician, we're masters of dosing. Okay, we've dosed all sorts of medications for all sorts of patients, so we can start them off on a baseline dose and increase in increments until we figure out, okay, this is the right therapeutic dose for you. It's not subtherapeutic, it's not toxic. The next thing is frequency of dosing. This is often overdone when it comes to patients. People are often taking way too much CBD. Realize that CBD is fat soluble. You don't have to take it on an everyday basis. I've had patients take CBD products once a week, for instance, and that's been sufficient to help alleviate whatever symptoms they're having for the rest of the week. So, and then finally, you know, it's also a matter of going through, managing and avoiding side effects, as well as the biggest question that patients have is, how do I take this with the medications that I'm currently taking? So that's a big question that physicians are able to answer. So that's my protocol, and I have it by medical condition as well as specialty. And these are, a lot of these questions are questions that you know, only medical professionals can answer. And in terms of trust, patients trust these medical professionals for answers, because I've had medical professionals come to me and patients come to me saying that I want these answers from my medical professional, not a salesperson.
And Blake, in terms of technology, answered your question, the platform we're using is LearnDash, which is the same one used by Harvard for their EDU. And the IP, really the course content that Dr. Patel is speaking to, which will be developed, you know, by her as well with, you know, medical professionals in different specialties, that will be IP protectable.
I like this, and I think Carol Ortega would agree with me. Just having your platform and professionalism on this would be fantastic for all of Latin America, because there's a lot of confusion. And what I'm finding is everyone can benefit from this is that our products that we're selling as well, we get the most sales from our actual doctors recommending it.
Yeah.
So I think what you guys are doing is great. So keep it
And
up.
then just to add to that, you get product loyalty. Right now, there's so many brands out there. People will try one brand, it doesn't work, they'll go to another brand. But in my clinical experience, once I walked a patient through, I recommended a product and I walked them through a protocol, they would continue to take that product year over year over year. And guess what? God forbid that product got discontinued or you know, it was out of stock, then I would get a panicked phone call. What do I do? So that's the aim here, right? You want the patient to get results. When you get the results, you get product loyalty. And that's really where you're generating revenue.
Thank you, Dr. Patel and Dakota, for your presentation. Looks like you're closing a very key gap in the market. Time to move forward with our next presenting company. I have the CEO of Good4, Mr. Jeff Ullman. You're on mute, Jeff.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I hope to make this a very good for investors presentation. The first thing I'd like to say about this is that is our company description. Good4, which is a registered internationally trademark, is a healthcare tech and IP company. You can read about all this. And I'm going to go through a lot of things very quickly, and everything will be available to you upon your request. Have a look at these. These are the top brands in cannabis and CBD. But how do they break through the clutter? Here's why the biggest brands are not so good. They don't express what's good for what customers seek. Confusing names, silly names in many respects. When a brand mentions technology or doctor jargon, it may be true and beneficial to the companies in a way, but it does not address the major problems. Okay, sorry for that. Excuse me. Okay, let's get through that. What's the #1 sales driver for CBD? It's pain relief. And what do people want? They want pain relief right away. Right away, because if they don't have it right away, it doesn't work for them. What's the #1 question customers need to know about CBD and THC? What's good for me? What's good for my family? But Do you remember any of those brand names? But they're the leading brands, but who remembers them? Brands need to have, must have certain key exceptional factors. If they don't, they will blend in and be just Me Too products. Here's just one of my multiple prior successes. Great Expectations, built amidst the stigma of the 20th and earliest 21st century, and sold it for the equivalent of, well, we did about $150 million, and that's Warren Buffett. Personal motivation. My wife was diagnosed with metastatic stage 4 breast cancer. We couldn't cure the cancer, but we could treat and cure her pain. And that's exactly what motivated us, and that's what we did. I've been invited to appear at, probably 10 or 11 different international presentations, all on cannabis and on the science of it. Here are our good for pain and related designs, as well as products. We're selling all of these. And this is the newest design that's already here, actually. We have proprietary formulas. We do not have white label. We make it ourselves. So we're the opposite of Me Too products. We produce entirely unique formulations, and our pain SKUs, topicals, work in seconds. Real skin in the game, almost $200,000. So I'm highly motivated. That's when I created something that's good for investors. Now, I don't expect you to read all of this, but we're going to go through this box or section by section. Company description, which you saw earlier, will tell you what we are. What's the problem? Everyone hates pain and needs to stop it instantly. We originally started offering a number of lotions and nice oils and whatnot, but none of them deliver instant relief. Our solution: to combine FDA-approved ingredients with FDA-ignored supplements, and we use unique cannabinoid ratios, which add to our intellectual property. And you'll learn more about our IP. This is what you can see on our website. Good for pain, grab and go packets, very popular with athletes, people on the go, a mom who wants to put it in her purse. And this is the primary product, Good for Pain Pump. It's an airless pump, so it's contaminant free, and it's an incredibly good price. We have had, it's even more than about 200 verified reviews. These are from fully paid customers. Traction and milestones. We too are a new company. We too created our products. We decided to walk before we run. We wanted to prove everything so that it would work well for our family and work well for investors. Target markets, international, pain is everywhere. $100+ billion in the United States alone. Pain topicals, $2.5 billion. So who is good for pain good for? Just about everybody. Our marketing focus, we began good for everybody. But that's too, the riches are in the niches. So good for pain relief is our focus. We've been doing direct to consumer sales very successfully, about $50,000 in the last few months. Wholesale team starts next month. We have about 13 or 14 already signed up. Intellectual property, we just don't talk about it, we do it. We have multiple trademarks in multiple countries. We have a clinical trial that's already started. We've already applied to the FDA, so will officially be a drug, a medicine. Investment offering. Now this is a little unique. Yes, we're raising $2 million offering and $1 million tranches, and you can read this yourself, but as a particular incentive for the first investor who puts in $100,000, they get 10% equity and a board seat. Use of funds primarily for marketing. Working capital is also included, or inventory is also included in working capital. Exit plan. We believe that Good For has created so many assets that will be attractive to a public or private company, CPG, consumer product goods, not just in wellness, who will want to break through the clutter, not just in cannabinoids, but in just about any product. Financials will provide them to any qualified investors who sign an NDA. good for? Good for you, good for us. And anyone who wants some samples of our pain topical, just write me and I'll send it to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Great presentation. Spreading the love, good for. All right. First question. Scott?
Yeah, can you talk more about your distribution plans? You mentioned DTC and wholesale. Can you go into a little more detail on how you plan to get it out there?
Yes, about 42% of our DTC sales have been repeat buyers. They like it, they buy it again. 31% are word of mouth. So we've built a very strong foundation. We have over 200 brand ambassadors. Costs us nothing to do that. We pay only after they make a sale. We have about 34 or 35 affiliates. These are not wholesalers. These are people who receive a 15% commission when their referrals purchase the products, and we provide them an incentive as well. I'm a member of YPO, Young Presidents Organization. In fact, I started the Cannabis Industry Wealth and Health Group in early 2015, and quite a few of those companies who are all over the United States and all over the world. I think they're in about, well, dozens of countries actually, have not just expressed interest, but have made commitments to us that as soon as we have our wholesale agreements done, which were done last week, they will start selling. I will provide you a list of all of those if you'd like.
Cool, thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. Great momentum there. Blake?
Oh, let me say one other thing, pardon me. The runexperience.com, it's the largest runners group in the world. We are an exclusive partner of theirs. They have 3 partners, Nike, Bose, and Good For. Beyond that, anybody in pain and athletes, we've got it made. The good thing about Good For Pain is you put it on and in 5 to 10 seconds, it begins working. And it's not because of lidocaine, which is the dangerous element.
Thanks, Jeff. Blake?
Yeah, could you expand a little bit on the clinical studies or the trials that you're doing?
Yes, the clinical trials, we decided not to take on like Pepsi versus Coke and name some of the big brands. We thought why spend money defending ourselves because they wouldn't like it. So what we've done is we've taken our pain topical. It's a double-blind study, the typical big pharma method, all using U.S. If you will, testers or patients. It begins in January. I think it's the 18th or 19th, something around that. It'll be listed on clinicaltrials.gov. Should take us less than 1 month. Simultaneously, our patent will be filed. It's being filed by 2 double PhD attorneys who have looked into the details on it. That, along with our FDA registration, elevates us to a great extent. Our focus, again, is just on pain. With regard to the clinical trial, it'll be a wide variety of people, from people in the early 20s who are athletic and are not aware of Good For, that's an important thing, to people who are in blue-collar jobs, white-collar jobs because of ergonomics, et cetera, seniors, everyday people, and also people who suffer side effects, painful side effects from pharmaceutical drugs, not just chemotherapeutic drugs. I'll be happy to provide, it's being set up, it has been set up by Dr. Dan McShan, who is a PhD in computational biology, a true scientist, and also Dr. Paul Bregman, who's a clinician in Colorado, who has seen over 8,000 cannabis patients. We have a very wide board of advisors. I'm not publishing it here. Why take the time? If you're interested, I'll share it with you. We're very open book, very transparent.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Jeff. We have time for one more quick question and quick response. Gary?
Hey, Jeff, I just wanted to see what's your revenue ramp up over the next couple of years? What's the estimate of time for cash flow positive from the business?
cash flow positive, even with $100,000. We have a very low burn rate. I've invested quite a bit, and that's going to stop, of course. It's not debt. So not a single investor dollar is going to pay me back. It's all going into use of funds, as I showed before. We expect to do in 2021 over $650,000. But the problem with financial pro formas for new companies is, who knows? Investors know, they know that. You know that. So the best thing to do is to analyze our thinking, our planning, in your due diligence. And I think you'll be impressed.
Hey, Jeff, maybe you can just walk us through, to help answer that. Maybe you can just walk us through the last 3 months.
What would you like to know about the last 3 months?
What was the revenue of the last 3 months?
About $26,000.
Is that per month or total?
For 3 months.
For 3 months.
Exclusive of December.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. And of course, judges, if you have any additional questions for Jeff, you can always reach out to him directly via this chat or his email. Moving on, we have our next presenting company. We have the co-founder and COO of Chicas, Mr. John Copolino.
Yes, how are you?
Hello, sir.
Can everyone see that?
Yep.
All right, there we go. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present our company. My name is John Copolino. I am one of the founders and the CEO of Chicas, a licensing technology development company. I know I see a few familiar faces here and would love to grab a drink with everybody after this webinar, but obviously we can't today, but maybe next time. Today,
I'm with you on that.
Today, I'm going to share with you a breakthrough in novel patented chemistry. Throughout history, the imagination of the world's greatest innovators. Why isn't this not moving? Oh, just give me one. Oh, there we go. I said throughout history, the imagination of great innovators has provided life-sustaining chemical solutions that basically allow us to maintain our lifestyle. The food we eat, the medicine we take, the crops we grow, the cars we drive, the homes we live in. And without these chemicals, it'd be impossible to sustain our life of over 7.4 billion people on the planet. The problem with that is, unfortunately, there's side effects. And when you start talking about side effects, we all have seen oil spills, hazardous chemical spills, industrial pollution, chemical burns, birth defects, and even cancer. And when you start thinking about agriculture, just think about the millions of gallons of pesticides used every day in our food supply. So when we look at, man, this thing is not wanting to change. There it goes. Oh, my apologies. So what I'd like you to do right now is imagine if we could increase the food supply without using harmful pesticides. Imagine if you could kill COVID-19 virus without using harmful disinfectants. Imagine if you could manufacture personal care products without toxic preservatives. Sounds impossible. Whoop. Well, Chicas has discovered a new sustainable low-tox acid and a new sustainable low-tox base that have thousands of applications across dozens of vertical markets. And in fact, our products are patented. So we have a composition of matter patent for a new acid, a new base that can be used in agriculture from growth to preservation. Sounds a little bit too good to be true. Well, if we would have been talking a few years back, it would have been probably difficult for me to convince you that it was true. But today we built a brand new plant in Michigan for under $2 million that can produce literally millions of gallons. Our profit margins are over 80%. Our EBITDA, when we get to critical mass, is over 50%. And this past quarter, we actually did $3 million in new licensing deals, global licensing deals that involve cleaning and disinfecting in agriculture. And in addition, we've attracted some of the best scientists in the world because of the mission that we're on. And if Dr. Atala was here, the director of Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine, he would tell you this chemistry is the most promising medical advancement in decades, and it has been demonstrated to facilitate both cellular functions. Larry Carlson, my partner and one of our founders, and a scientist for many years with Fortune 50 companies, he would tell you the ag tech testing of our growth enhancement product on cannabis, soybeans, corn, potatoes, sugar beets has resulted on average of increased crop yields of 10 to 30% and a reduction in time to harvest. And of course, Dr. Stephen Johnson, the former head of the EPA, would tell you that he's focused all of his efforts after he retired on the challenges that EPA faces. And he believes that Tigris is a safe acid technology, less toxic approach to a wide range of industry issues involving dangerous chemistry. But what does that mean in the cannabis industry? Well, picture tells 1,000 words. We've done numerous testing in cannabis, and you can see we will increase crop yield with a much safer alternative to typical additives and pesticides that are used. It is an additive. It goes with a fertilizer and is fed to the plant when you're feeding the newts. That's just an example of some of the testing we've done over the years, where we've seen increased crop yields from 10 to 35% just in cannabis. And then if you look at other crops that we've tested, green lettuce, potatoes, soybeans, sugar beets, tomatoes, sunflowers, we've seen crop yields from 10 to 40%. And then, of course, on the cannabis side, there's a whole nother application, and that's when manufacturing CBD, we can be used both as a potential preservative to replace hazardous chemicals and also as an ingredient to enhance the active ingredient in the CBD product. Here's just a few other pictures of some other crops, lettuce. And you can see this was done hydroponically with a control sample and then a sample that used our product. And we're only using it at about a 10 mil per gallon dosage. And you can see the roots that tell you the whole story. So why invest in Tigris? We've discovered new water synthesized chemistry. We have immediate international opportunities on all of our various applications, from cleaning to disinfecting to agriculture to medical. As we said, we've just begun saving the world. We've just started our licensing deals in Australia, New Zealand, the EU, and North America. We've built an amazing patent portfolio. We probably have 3 or 4 dozen patents that are in process and 5 or 6 that have been granted and issued. We've had tremendous testing done by third parties in all aspects of our business. My apologies for the, and most importantly, we're generating profit margins that are well above the industry norms. Excuse me one second here. So with that being said, right now we are in the process of raising $5 million in our parent company, Tigris. To date, we've raised $10 million to date. We're also raising $1 million in our ag tech company, and we'll also be raising an additional $2 million in our biotech company. Once again, if you look at some of the highlights, we do have the perfect ingredients for success: high gross profit margins, low capex. Our production facility is up and running, and we have ongoing commercialization in multiple vertical markets. World-class team of advisors and dedicated professionals that are on our mission. And our mission, once again, is to provide safer, more effective solutions to replace the millions of gallons of hazardous chemistry used in ag tech and other industries. And we're going to keep innovating. We're looking for strategic partners and licensing partners. And of course, we're certainly looking for great investment partners. And we've been very fortunate in the folks we've brought into the company up to this point. So I thank you for your time and look forward to exploring all the possibilities.
Thanks, John. Really a timely solution and well thought out. as well. Blake?
Quick one. Are any of your license agreements with governments?
No, we are working. We have a couple grants that we've been provided up in Michigan. We're working on some very large grants. We're also working in the biotech space in some therapeutics for COVID-19. And we are talking to some potential PPE states about once we have approval as a disinfectant to use our product as a PPE solution. It's now approved in Singapore. We just shipped some product to Singapore, and we're currently negotiating with licensing deals on every continent.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, so I'm a little confused. So the investment now is going into the parent company or to a subsidiary? Because
so we are doing.
You mentioned a lot of different entities.
Yeah, we're doing multiple investments right now. Tigris is basically the holding company that controls the IP, and
Okay.
we have separate subsidiaries for ag tech, for biotech, and for clean tech. The ag tech company is raising $1 million convertible note in the first quarter. The parent company is currently raising a $5 million equity round. And in fact, we're in the process right now of converting all of our senior debt to equity. We're converting all of our convertible notes to equity. And by the time we begin next year, we'll have no convertible notes, no debt, and all common stock.
And the parent company owns what percentage of the subs?
Initially, when we roll them out, we own 100%. We then bring in management that's focused in that subsidiary that would be provided equity, in the 10% range, or typical equity for a management team. And then we would bring in strategic investors that would invest in the various ag tech or biotech companies. One of the reasons for the structure is, you guys know, as investors, there's a much different profile for a biotech investor than there would be an ag tech investor or a clean tech investor.
So as an investor in the parent company, then I could be.
As an investor in the parent company, you would be an owner in all of the subsidiaries. And when we did distributions through subsidiaries, there could potentially be distributions going through the parent company. Our strategy is kind of trickle up economics. We're going to create liquidity events at the subsidiary level that can trickle up to the parent by using these subsidiaries, including our ag tech, which obviously includes the cannabis space.
And all the subs, they all have their own staff, infrastructure, et cetera, or do they get that from the parent?
So we're leveraging the parent for manufacturing, for human resources, admin, legal. However, the subs would be involved on the distribution, sales, marketing. And really what we're looking for is great CEOs that have the ability to sign 7-figure global licensing deals, because that's really where the action is at the subsidiary level. They also have some R&D at the subsidiary level, but the majority of the technical R&D, we have 2 scientists on our staff that have 200 patents worldwide between them. So we have some great scientists working with us. And then we have some great doctors working with us, again, on the biotech side. There are really interesting applications on biotech for CBD, and we would definitely be interested in looking to pursue R&D opportunities, certainly with some of the companies that have even presented today.
Okay, I've taken up enough time. I'll let someone else ask questions.
Thanks,
Sorry.
Jeff. They were great questions. Scott?
Yeah, great questions. In fact, that was my question about the parent, but I'll shift to another question. Good to see you, John. So from a sales and marketing standpoint, how do you penetrate the cannabis world and convince people that this is really important? How do you gain market share, and who are your competitors in this space?
So our strategy in cannabis has shifted. We originally rolled out a product called Ferocious. We got some distributors going. We got some momentum going. We quickly realized that we didn't have the bandwidth or really the goodwill in the industry to roll out such a new disruptive technology. We are now negotiating with potential strategic partners who would license our technology for cannabis, take that product to the cannabis market under their brands, using our product as an additive. And we've now also focused in heavily on the general agricultural space, or ag tech space, for both indoor and outdoor growing. In addition to that, we are looking, Scott, as we talked about, for partners on the CBD side, because we know we have, from working with some of the big personal care companies, non-CBD, we believe that we can both help as a replacement for preservatives when preservatives are required in CBD personal care products, and also potentially enhancing the active ingredient, which obviously is the CBD in these various formulations.
How many paying customers do you need that are going to be licensing, this? Like how big can it get? Like if you have 30 new customers next year, what size do you get to, and what's your outlook there?
I mean, we know that, just to give you an idea, one large farm, a few hundred acres or 1,000-acre farm, can literally be hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue for the company. So I'll give you soybeans, for instance. We did a small farm up in Michigan. The farmer generated an extra $500,000 in gross revenue, of which cost him about $80,000 to pay us for the actual product itself. So he netted $420,000. So, and that was a low return on investment compared to some of the others we've seen. So we know we have a great return on investment for cash crops like cannabis, and even non-cash crops, corn, potatoes, etc. From a preservative standpoint, we've even done some testing on fresh cut potatoes and showed that we can increase shelf life on fresh cut potatoes from 20 days to 40 days when they're packed and then shipped around the country. So a lot of potential in the food, beverage, cannabis space, and certainly on the personal care, biotech, and CBD space. We think we're just at the tip of the iceberg, and certainly looking for strategic partners. That was one of the reasons I thought this would be interesting to get involved with. Is, I think there's some real benefits to our technology when we partner with the right cannabis and CBD companies to bring these products to market.
Thanks. Great presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, John. I know there were other questions, but unfortunately we ran out of time on this presentation. Terry, I will definitely get to you in the next round of presenters, but also if you have any questions, you can message John directly, and also there will be time during the networking session as well to ask some of these things. All right, so moving on to our final presentation, we have the CEO of Canaverde, Michael Nestorescu.
Perfect. Michael.
Hello. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you everyone for your time today. Good afternoon or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, for those of us on the East Coast. My name is Michael Nestorescu. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Canaverde Pharma. So if I can share the screen here, and we can go in through the quick presentation. Perfect. So Canaverde Pharma is a Canadian domiciled, low-cost, high-quality producer of medical cannabis with operations in Colombia through our wholly owned subsidiary called Green Health Colombia. So over the last 2.5 years, we have spent a great deal of time getting all the licenses and permits in place. So now we can sit in front of you and state that we have received licenses to cultivate, extract, manufacture, domestically distribute, and export both CBD and THC-based medical extracts. Further to that, we have registered 8 cultivars with varying CBD, THC, and CBG profiles with the Colombian Agricultural Institute, and can now begin commercial cultivation of these cultivars. We have another 57 additional strains that are going through the documentation process, and those will be available to us shortly, and we'll be able to cultivate those as well. I don't have to tell you guys that Colombia is the perfect place to grow cannabis, or one of the best places to grow cannabis. And we have access to a massive opportunity in Latin America. So there's 68 million qualifying patients within Latin America. So we have a very large market, and we feel that Colombia is best placed to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. We have a terrific team. I wanted to highlight 3 individuals, specifically Ivan Osmar, Chief Medical Officer, who's a graduate of both Harvard and Johns Hopkins. He's done medical trials, FDA monitored clinical trials, and he is terrific in terms of medicine in Colombia. I wanted to highlight Dr. Carlos Ulloa, who's the former team physician for the Colombian national soccer team, as well as the Olympic team, the Tennis Federation, and the Copa America team. Javier Patino used to be the CEO of Yambal, which is a very large CPG company within the country. And further to that, he was the gentleman on the team that brought Gatorade when he was with Quaker Oats in Latin America. And of course, we have other very, very talented people on our team. This is the biggest project that we're working on, is with the Foscal Group. Foscal is the largest tertiary care center in Colombia. They have 410 hospital beds, 350 medical specialists, and 300 medical consultants. The goal here is to place a cannabis clinic within this hospital and get thousands of patients that would be able to have access to cannabis-based medication. We're also in Santander, which is the health cluster within Colombia. We have partnered with two other companies, Saludar, which is a group of doctors that provide prescriptions in alternative medicine, and Medical Precision Care, which is an INVIMA registered master pharmacy that is in the process of obtaining an extension to cannabis. So this would be one of, we believe, 3 pharmacies within the country that will be able to write CBD, THC, CBG-based cannabis prescriptions. Further to that, we have partnered with JGB, which is a consumer packaged goods company. They have 1,000 employees out of Cali. So the goal here is to integrate CBD into existing product lines, as well as to bring new product lines to market within the CBD space. We have other contracts in place with Nova Science for CBD for pets, with Promi, with a white label company that will allow us to bring other products to market. So we have the distribution and the ability for us to bring CBD-based products with well-known companies within Latin America. We've also signed definitive agreements for delivery of flower and distillate or isolate. We have a current contract to be delivered in 2021 for $2.5 million US. That translates into 3.25 million Canadian. And we have signed LOIs and definitive agreement with other companies to bring forth CBD-based medication and CBD-based products. So to date, our capital structure looks like this. So shares outstanding, about 12 million shares at a 60-cent valuation for about $7.2 million valuation. We've issued debentures for $3 million. So those are outstanding as well. The debentures look exactly like this, which is a 2-year debenture that yields 10% per year and is payable at either the IPO, the go public transaction, or maturity date. It's got a forced conversion into equity at 60 cents per share. We have raised to date $5.2 million, and we're searching today for an additional $5 to $10 million to complete all of the things that we have set out to do. So this includes the proprietary medical markets with the Formula Magistral in Colombia. We've received fantastic news recently out of Colombia that insurance companies will now cover medical prescription of cannabis, whether it be private insurance, whether it be government insurance. So this amount of capital will be able to assist the doctors in the clinics. Medical Precision Care will be able to now issue prescription-based medication. So we want to allocate some capital to that. The GMP compliant extraction facility to give us access to not only Colombia, but Latin America, specifically Brazil, Mexico, Chile, Peru. We have had conversations with doctors and pharmacies in all of these jurisdictions for us to be able those products to market. And also the JV agreements in terms of the CBD wellness programs. So it is a 2.5-year-old process that we're now ready to generate revenues. So we've basically spent a great deal of time through the licensing process, and we are now generating revenues. We had our first sale about a few weeks ago of CBD-based distillate. We are about to harvest about 230 kilograms of dry flower, CBD and CBG dominant. So that will be ready in the next few weeks as we finish off the year. And in the new year, we will begin with the THC quota. We've already received one on the scientific side to be able to take all of these cultivars through the registration process. But we'll be asking for a quota for commercial cultivation, commercial extraction, and with Medical Precision Care and the Foscal Group, we plan to bring forth medical prescriptions. The goal is 10,000 patients within 2021. The average spend per patient would be about $50 US a month for a total of $600 US per year, giving us revenues of about $6 million US in 2021. So that is the goal for us as a company. I want to be able to talk about the Colombian market just on its own, given that there are 5.6 million patients in total with a variety of conditions, and they spent $22 billion on healthcare in 2017, 50 million population. So For us to be able to get 10,000 patients in 2021 is a very achievable goal. We've had conversations with doctors, and we had a recent event for 100 doctors, all willing and able and ready to prescribe medication. And now we have one of the few compounding pharmacies in the whole country that can begin writing prescription medication. And we're anticipating that to happen in the early part of January of 2021. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to any questions you may have.
Thanks, Michael. Really strong work. Really strong. Terry, why don't we start with you? Because I know we couldn't get to your question in the last presentation.
No problem. Michael, since you guys just had your first production at the greenhouse, do you know exactly what you guys are producing per square foot, and also what your costs are to produce that?
Yeah, so basically the way we do it per plant or per square meter. So what we've done in our evaluation, we did it in pots. So we achieved about 60 to 80 grams per plant. However, we have changed our strategy to go directly in the ground within the greenhouse. And we are now, with an extra 2 weeks in the plant life, we're getting 400 to 500 grams per plant. So the cost of production is very low. Obviously, as we increase our economies of scale, we're in about 51,000 square feet. We're about to go to 80 within the next week. So as we scale up to 400,000 square feet, we anticipate production costs of below 10 cents. And we are focusing on the higher revenue targets, basically THC, CBG. We feel that CBD is not the right move for us as we move forward into the space. As you know, some of the bigger producers, not only in Colombia, but elsewhere, they achieve cost of 3 cents or below that. So perfect conditions. We're in the best place to grow cannabis. We're 1,700 meters above sea level. We're in the safest area in Colombia, Bucaramanga, and we have fantastic economics. That's the way we see it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Carol?
Thank you, Michael. Excellent presentation. Our firm have been very actively looking for opportunities in Colombia since 2016, pretty much right away when all legalization happens, and I'm impressed. Regarding the LOIs that you're showing. I would like to hear more about that partnership that you have with JBG. This is one of the biggest, I think it's the biggest partnership I have seen so far for the cannabis industry in the country. So if you can tell us some details, and also I would like to hear the milestones that you would like to reach with the funding that you're asking.
Perfect. Yeah, so we're very, very excited. So we partnered with Foscal, we've partnered with Salud Data and Medical Precision Care, and we've partnered with JGB. These are 3 fantastic names in the industry. JGB being a massive company and having the ability to bring products that consumers have been enjoying for years. So JGB has been around since the late 1800s. So we're not starting a product from scratch, but we're starting to put CBD in products that consumers know and love. And JGB was voted one of the best CPG companies in the space a few years ago. The Foscal Hospital is obviously one of the biggest hospitals in Colombia, and we are excited to partner with them as we get to our target of 10,000 patients within 2021. So those are the general milestones. We've grown organically, and we haven't built the very large facilities that we see now in Canada and elsewhere being closed. We think that 80,000 square feet is perfect space for now. As we grow further, we have the ability to scale up very fast as everything's prepared for us to be able to do so. So the organic growth has been there. And as we transition, the main goals now is revenue creation. We have spent the last 2.5 years on the licensing and the permits. We do not require any more licenses or permits. So now it's a rinse and repeat process in terms of revenue generation. And we focused on 3 different segments of the revenue. So medical prescriptions and formulations, CBD-based products, and flower and oil and isolate sales within the country. So the goal is to now get 10,000 patients within 2021, get the product launches with our partners, and now to start creating revenues as Colombia has finally gotten in line with the rest of the world in terms of actually having a great path to revenue, which is something that a few years ago that was not there.
Thanks, Michael. Actually, we have that's it on time. I'm sorry. Again, feel free to reach out to Michael directly now or during the Q&A via chat. But my timekeeper here just flagged me that basically concludes the company presentation segment of our program. And now we're moving on to the very exciting time now, where all judges and audience members will be asked to vote for the company in which they, support, would like to get behind, or just thought had a best presentation today. I believe you have your voting tab in front of you. So please take a moment to do that. There will be no recount. There will be no multiple recounts, and vote with conviction. Oh. Okay, got it. Okay. So I'm going down the line. Okay, great. So there will be no secret voting here. No. Okay, so I am going down the line with all of our judges. Blake, we'll start with you. You're on mute.
Yeah. You want me to discuss every company or just go with the one that I want to vote with?
Actually, give me one quick moment. Let me just make sure I'm good. Yeah, so
I was trying to click the button here, but it wouldn't let me.
yeah, I know. I noticed that too. Yeah, so if you can talk about which company and then why very briefly, I'd really appreciate it. And then we'll just go down the line.
Oh, I guess just briefly, I'm gonna go with Doc Patel's because I like the educational side of it, and I feel that that's something that we really need to get in. I mean, I've done this with my products here and working in Colombia. I mean, as Michael was saying, I mean, we have 7,000 kilos of product sitting here, dried flour. So, and then I have products registered with NEMA here, which is our FDA in Colombia. And it's just, I really want to get our doctors and our clients and everyone on the same page. We have to educate everybody because people don't know. They don't know how to dose. They don't know what they're looking for. They don't know brands. A lot of these brands are out there spending $1 million a month with Google ads, pushing products in front of people. But I feel that they have a great little product that they're going with, and I think they have a lot of potential.
Thanks, Blake. Carol?
Well, I really like 3 companies that I saw today. As Blake was saying, the platform of education for doctors is key, is very important for in Latin America. Also, I think that Greg's solution is amazing. I think that it is the answer of one of the most challenging issues in the space. And Michael Canaverde, finally, I think that there's a great opportunity to invest in Colombia with reliable LOIs and great partnerships. And I love to see companies developing Latin American market. I think it's a great opportunity to explore, and Colombia is ready to go. So congratulations to all of you. Great job.
Thanks, Carol. And if you were to just pick one, what of the 3?
Wow, pick one. Well, then I love to diversify portfolios, but I will say Canaverde since we are actively working in Colombia, and I think it's a great opportunity.
Thanks, Carol.
You're welcome.
Dr. Cunic?
Sure. I think really one thing when it comes to all these companies, it's about timing. What's a good investment now versus what may be a good investment in a year from now. For myself, I think it's Cura Ratio Life Sciences. I really like how they're using the medical healthcare practitioners, and they're also using influencers as well too. and really combining those two things together for opportunities, I think that's a great opportunity for this exact moment right now to invest in. So out of everyone, that's why I'd recommend Curatio Life Sciences for myself. And thank you everyone for presenting today. Good job, everyone. And I wish everyone best of luck with their fundraising.
Thanks, Dr. Cunic. Really appreciate you. Gary?
You said Gary or Terry? I'm sorry.
Oh, Gary?
Well, again, thank you everyone for presenting. Great range of companies. In terms of who I would vote for is Greenway DNA. Basically, I'm a good client for it. There's a lot of trial and error that happens in the cannabis space in terms of trying different products until you find one that works. If there was a way to simplify that and do a test and let me gravitate toward strains and dosing that really works with my DNA, I think it would be very useful. And it seems pretty scalable. I could see some other ways to monetize the products, but that's the one for me.
Thanks, Gary. Jeff?
Well, I'm a little confused between the best presentation and the best company to invest in. So they're different. I think, so the best presentation of all was Element. I thought it was great. She knows what she's doing. She knows her market. But I think the best company to invest in right now, and I think for big returns, is Tigris. I think that they're doing something really great. And I think there's a way to get around the structure of the investment, but I would vote for Element as the best presentation, but for the investment side, I go with the other guys.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, and definitely more about the investment side, right? So,
right.
Yeah, but thank you for that. Absolutely. Okay, Scott.
So I liked Element and Curatio both at the top. I'm struggling to decide between them. I agree that Element gave a great presentation. I think Curatio seems to be further along with their development and their sales, and I like the team. They have a big healthcare background, and I think David mentioned healthcare professionals, you know, and influencers. So I think that a lot of it is around distribution and sales and marketing. There's a lot of good brands out there, but how do you break through? And, you know, as my question was, like, what's going to happen after a lot of these companies get tossed off the shelves, you know, that people are going to gravitate towards the best quality. And it seems like Curatio has spent a lot of time thinking about making, you know, those claims. You know, everybody makes claims about CBD, but I thought theirs were very strong. So I'm going to have to vote for Curatio over Element, but it was this close.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. Terry.
Yes, 8 great presentations. It's kind of hard to choose from. You know, from our expertise, you know, we look more for the cannabis side, the growing side, and cultivation. So Tigris and then also Canna Verde are 2 interest potentials for us. I also think though that P-Lab, or Piley Lab, if pronouncing it correctly, has some great opportunities exploring outside of the United States also. So if I had to make a choice today, I'd probably have to go with Tigris just because of the agricultural opportunity that's also available besides just cannabis.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Tim?
Boy, Joseph, this is tough.
Oh, man.
As we're hearing the presentations, they just, you know, I just keep saying, okay, that one looked good. Oh, just keep getting better, just keep getting better. And, you know, I've heard a few of the presentations before, a few of the presenters before, and they're also improving. And so it's just, this is really difficult for me. It kind of comes down to, you know, I really had 4 companies that I liked. And there's different things when it comes to investing. It's about timing, but it's also about, as an investor, how could I add value? I think of it as, could I add value to the investment? And to me, I don't have any experience or knowledge about Latin America. I don't feel like I could add any value to Latin America, although I did see Canna Verde as very strong. I just didn't see how I could add to the value there. And also, it was very important. I did have a question and I didn't get it answered. And it was really important for me to understand the offer, whether it was in line with the valuation of the company. So when am I going to get my money if I do it? So that was concerns that I would have there. So, but it did tick off a lot of great things. So Canna Verde did really well. I just don't know that I'd be able to add any value to that. So then it comes down to between Element Apothic and Doc Patel's for me, because there's something there where I feel like that I could add value. And as far as where they are, I think Doc Patel's a little further along than Element Apothic, but I think with one real small slight adjustment, I think Element Apothic with a distribution channel and can really make something happen as well. And it could be right there. So for me, I guess, and also I think if you're an investor, if you're listening here, with $100 investment in Element Apothic as a small risk on WeFunder, you could just go out and right now just do that. So, as far as where I could add value and where I feel like my investment would be and how I could add to the trajectory would be with Element Apothic.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate you breaking that down too. That was very insightful. Okay. So everyone, if you just give me a moment, I'm just putting everything together, tabulating, and then looking at responses here from our audience. So just give me a quick moment here. Okay. All right, so we actually have a tie. So I'll start with the investor figures first, and then the investor judges, and then I'll go to the results from the audience. With the investor judges, Curatio Life Sciences earned 2 votes, Tigris earned 2 votes, and then Element earned 2 votes. So that leaves the tiebreaker to me, and me in particular, I'm big on timing, particularly when capital's tightened up like like it is currently. I really believe in where Tigris is going and their ability to kind of, shape a new world, right, in light of COVID and our response to that. So, but their application not only in just the larger ag tech space, but also in cannabis and CBD, I think is palatable. And I agree with Jeff. There's some things with the parent and infrastructure and kind of how deals would be structured that need to be cleaned up. But overall, once you get past that, I think there's a lot of upside on that. But I also loved Element and Curatio Science. Canna Verde is super exciting. Things that are happening in Colombia. I think, Carol, once you get with them, I believe I'm so excited for you guys to get together and do some amazing things in Latin America. And Dr. Patel and all the educational work that you're doing, just the power of having a medical doctor on the team that really knows what they're talking about is so essential. I'm going to leave my last comment for actually the winner from the audience, which the audience actually voted on best company presentation. And the person that earned the most votes there was Greenway DNA. And I think there's a lot of real good reasons behind that. They were followed by Element Apothic. So there's Element popping up again, Pelly Labs, and Can Verde. So that was the breakdown on the audience side. So with that, congratulations to both Greenway DNA and to Tigress and all the other company presentations. Really a stellar lineup. Good job, Brad, in sourcing all these companies. Everybody brought immense value, amazing presentations, especially as we turn the corner into 2021 and look at opportunities. I would like to thank, our investor judges. Really an all-star lineup of judges. Clearly, you're here for a valuable reason, and certainly it was very valuable to have you participate and provide your feedback. I believe that you've identified some opportunities to collaborate with some of these presenting companies, collaborate with each other here as well. We also want to especially thank our audience for joining us from around the world. We know this is a difficult time and we have to meet this way, but we actually really made this work. And I think this is a great way for us to collaborate in light of the COVID situation. I also want to remind everybody that today's recording will be available on the Cannabis Investing Forum website and the YouTube channel. And for those of you that would like to contact the presenters and investor judges, their emails are all available on their section of the Cannabis Investing Forum. And just some announcements for the future. Please make sure you mark your calendars for the next event, the Investor Hot Seat, which will be a virtual webinar on January 28th, 2021, and the Cannabis Investing Forum virtual webinar on March 4th, 2021. We're currently seeking companies right now to present investor judges, exhibitors, sponsors, media and marketing partners, and all that whole jazz. It takes a village to get these projects funded and off the ground and supported and sustainable. So please join us. And you could also, again, find out more information on this at cannabisinvestingforum.com.